we have some questions about, well, what do you do for work? Yeah, what do you do for work?
Well, yeah, right now I'm a researcher, and as I don't have a permanent position, so I work on different projects depending on the funding I get. That maybe in a more generic sense, but my day-to-day work is more like doing some code with my computer and very not often like then do
Mhm.
some field trips to get some measurements out of sea, but usually it's just yeah, analyzing ocean data from my laptop.
Okay, so yeah, you're an oceanographer. What kind of data do you analyze? What do you look at?
Um, the instruments I use in my case go like from satellite data to like models also that run by colleagues, like the weather forecast models you
Yeah.
can see on the news. And then also from instruments we have out at sea. Some are autonomous, like it can be like a drifting buoy, um, or others we take from a ship ourselves. Like it can be directly measuring the velocity of the ocean currents or trying to get some samples of how many microplastics are in the water.
Oh, that's super cool. Where in the world is this happening?
For the, you mean the microplastic sampling?
Yeah.
Yeah, right now there's many places where it is happening. The projects I've been involved have been mainly in the Mediterranean Sea, but also we had this campaign off the coast of San Diego going towards Hawaii. I don't know if you heard about this,
Mhm.
the garbage patch there in the middle
Yeah, we
of
spent
the
last week in
Pacific.
class learning about it.
Okay, so yeah, we went there right in the middle. So yeah, that was a bit, yeah, impacting to see all that
When did you
trash.
go there?
It was, let me see, COVID was still a thing.
Mm.
So I think it was, I don't know if it was 2022 or 2023, maybe summer 2022, yeah.
What kind of work were you doing in that area, like the garbage patch area?
Um, we went with this organization, like at that time I was working in the Netherlands for a university there. And we worked with NGO called the Ocean Cleanup, and they actually have a project there, like to clean up the trash that accumulates in there. But we also do some science campaigns to try to understand how best can we actually handle and how this plastic actually accumulates depending on the ocean currents, but also winds. So yeah, we were counting plastic just by taking samples with the nets, but also like there was moments where you were just up on the ship just counting how many plastic pieces you saw go by, which were many at some points. Yeah.
I bet.
Well, that sounds super interesting. What are your favorite parts about your job?
Yeah, I think when I managed to go out at sea, that's really nice. But I think I still can't say that's the cool part because I don't go that often. Maybe I have colleagues that have to be like 3, 4 months every year out of sea, and for them then it gets a bit tough. But for me, if it's like once every year, every 2 years, it's the part I really enjoy, to get away from the screen and just go out at sea and disconnect a bit, airplane mode on the phone. Just
Totally.
it's a detox also.
I've been kind of like interested in what that garbage patch kind of looks like because I don't know if it's like, is it really dense, like a lot of plastic, or is it like more spread out? Or is there like areas where it's more dense and some areas where it's less dense?
Yeah, exactly. Like the thing also we did a lot of work is because at some point people were talking about like this continent or island of plastic, but actually it's more like a soup. So actually, I don't know, I guess when you're being at the beach or the coast, sometimes you can see like these like blobs of plastic. And as you get further away from the coast, you see less. But here, that's what we saw. Like when you get away from the San Diego area, then you don't see many, and then suddenly, when you arrive in the middle of the ocean, where there's literally like nothing, just ocean, then there's points where you start to see it's just like a lot of pieces of plastics passing by. Like usually just to like when we were counting the plastics, just to give you an idea, maybe in 2 hours you would count 4 or 5 pieces, and then at some point we were counting 200 pieces in 2 hours. So yeah, it's just that you see a lot of pieces go by, but it's not like this huge thing, or like yeah, like an island suddenly. Yeah.
Are you working at any projects right now, or what are you doing right now?
Yeah, right now, well, there's a lot of paperwork. Also, that's very the dull part of the job. But the project I'm involved right now, it's with this new satellite from NASA Agnes. Agnes is like the French version of NASA, let's say. And it's a new satellite, yeah, that give us like more information about the ocean currents. It's like before it was very sad. We were seeing like think just one line in 1D, and suddenly we have an image. And I'm involved like in processing the data, but also trying to understand these features that you find in the ocean that are called eddies. That is like a whirlpool, and they're very important for fisheries, pollution management strategies. And the idea is to also see how this might change in any future climate change scenarios.
Cool.
Like, what exactly are you like looking at about like the eddies? Like, are you looking at like how they form or their impact?
Yeah, like one of the parts is how they form, but also the thing is like, let's say before we were able to see ones that were pretty large, and now we can see the smaller ones too. So actually, yeah, we're at the point of just being able to see them already is a lot. Yeah, as we say, like sometimes in oceanography, like we know less about the ocean than maybe about the surface of Mars, right? So it might sound a bit simple, but yeah, sometimes just starting to get an observation of something is already the starting point.
And how are you observing them?
Yeah, with the satellite data, actually, you can see it through different types of satellites. One is, for example, with the temperature. The eddies, they say they can be like cold or warmer at the center, depending on the way they turn. And you can also see it in chlorophyll. Like, for example, you can have more algae in the center of this eddy and then more fish. And this we can also see it with the satellites. And then you can also see them like as a bump or like a trough in their surface.
That's
You
super
can,
neat.
there's like different ways.
What are like the determining factors about the eddy? Like the temperature change it? Is it seasonal? Like what determines how big or small an eddy is,
Um,
or how
I
impactful?
mean, that's also, yeah, it's a cool question, because that's a question that we're still asking ourselves. We don't really know, but it can depend on many things of how and where they were formed. Then they can be bigger or smaller. Also, it interacts a lot with the bathymetry, no? So for example, if the seafloor, you have seamounts or canyons also under the ocean, it's also another world in that sense that can also start to like modify it. Actually, it's like when you get this storm pattern right in the atmosphere. If suddenly it arrives to this mountain ridge or something, the storm also could be affected by it, right? So in the ocean, actually, there are many similarities.
Cool. Um, when you are analyzing your data, have you ever seen like recurring patterns that like these currents like come up over and over and over again year after year?
Yeah, actually related to these eddies again, we also worked before with some colleagues I don't know if you heard about the Canary Islands, like in the
Yeah.
south of Spain. And there we saw suddenly with some data, first we was at the model, and then we saw that actually that could be happening, that these eddies were forming, like every time you got a current arriving to a cape, suddenly we got these structures forming, and we observed it over different times of the year. So actually it's quite cool, like sometimes, yeah, you can just generate some animations of movies with the data, and suddenly, yeah, these recurrent patterns, as you say, appear.
What inspired you to get into the field to begin with?
Yeah, I mean, I had like some friends of my parents. They were marine biologists, and we spent some holidays together, and it was really cool just to snorkel with them. And then I wanted to learn more, so I went in wanting to do marine biology, more like the pretty part of dolphins and whales. And then, as I said, I went to the dark side of physics to understand more the currents than the animals. But yeah, I think what happened is like there's something what you see, and then what motivated me to continue this path is what you actually have to do. Like I'm really bad at learning animal names by heart or their things. So I was like, yeah, I think I'll go towards the maths part. That for me was a bit easier to study. Yeah.
Do you have any like long-term goals like that you want to like accomplish? Is there something in the future you're looking for?
Yeah, like the publishing part is a bit on the like day to day, and for me it's not so much fun. Like, well, I guess yeah, for you guys too. At the end, you end up watching more videos than maybe reading about something. And I feel also I find it's more fun to do like figures or videos than writing up a bunch of text. So yeah, like in the long term, I think it would be cool to find other ways to share what we do, our projects, that is not just a long, sometimes boring scientific text. But yeah, the idea is to try to understand more areas. Now I'm focused in the Mediterranean and trying to understand where I'm at right now.
Um, so you have your PhD, correct? What
Yeah.
work did you do for your like thesis, your PhD?
Well, it was more technical for my thesis. It was at this starting part of the satellite I was mentioning, this new satellite I was mentioning before. So it was more about techniques on how to process the data before the satellite was launched. So yeah, it was a bit more technical, boring part. But yeah, the idea was like I had this noise, I had to apply like a filter to like the filter we might do for photos on social media, but on the satellite data instead.